I welcome you all for this third day afternoon sessions. Today we are having the Professor of Economics and the ICSSR Senior Fellow, Professor M. Indira Madam with us. Madam was my colleague, teacher, colleague. More of that, a very good, sincere advisor for our researchers and very good friend. And I know since my attachments with Madam, I know she is the expertise. She is having expertise in gender issues. Madam asked a question in my intro also related to this gender issue. So yeah. I thought it could be better to ask Madam for this sustainable development issues, which can relate with the gender equality and gender related issues. Having that in mind, I requested Madam, can you deliver talks on gender related issues? Madam was readily accepted. So Madam CV is runs into pages. I read morning only. I read it. It goes around 12 to 13 pages, and it is very difficult to read all.
No, don't spend too much time on this.
Yeah, just I am just
many people know me.
Brief information about our beloved teacher and my professor. Some of the information you should know about the madam. So that kind of the things I would like to share with you people as an introduction to the madam. Madam joined the Department of Economics. Madam has done her PhD in economics in ISEC, Bangalore, way back in 1990. Master's degree in applied economics in Andhra University, Visakhapatnam in 1981. Bachelor's degree in economics in 1978. Certificate course also done in softwares, utilities, conducted by National Informatics Center, Bangalore in 1994. So just the gist of career I am introducing here. Presently, Madam is ICSSR Senior Fellow in our own department, in the Department of Economics and Cooperation in the city of Mysore. Madam served in the department since 1999 and was Professor of Economics since 2007 till 2019. During this period, Madam also served as Director, Center for Women Studies, and the Chairperson, the Department of Economics and Cooperation, a freelance researcher in Mysore, Research Officer, Institute for Socio and Economic Change, Bangalore, and she has given lectures in various institutions, Government of Colleges, Union Territory, Pondicherry, and Madam is ICSSR Research Fellow also in the Institute for Socio and Economic Change, Bangalore. This is the brief career achievements of Madam. And researchers, as far as I know, Madam is very good in research related to NGOs and gender issues, particularly women related issues. Madam has completed Madam has received many scholarships and awards. To name some of them: Walter School of Economics Scholarship during 1980-81 for securing highest percentage at graduation. Best Teacher in Economics Award from Stars of Industry Groups and Dainik Bhaskar Group, India during 2013. ICSSR researchership under ICSSR NWO Scholar Exchange Program for undertaking research at International Institute of Social Studies, the Hedge, during 2014. And Madam has served in the many universities. To name some of them: University of Mysore, sorry, Department of Economics, Calicut University, University of Mysore once again, Chairperson, University of Mysore, Chairperson, Board of Examiners, Center for Women Studies, University of Mysore, Chairperson, BOS for Women Studies, University of Mysore, and member in boards of studies for political science, studies for area studies, University of Mysore, member core committee UPE project focus area 2, supported by UGC, chairperson Department of Economics. I already mentioned that. And Madam also served in many other university. To name few of them: Tirupati University, Bangalore University, Visakhapatnam University, that is Andhra University, NMKRV College, Bangalore, Mangalore University, Coimbatore University, that is Shivamoga, Bijapur
ಬೇಡ
Mahila
ಬೇಡ
University.
ಸಾಕಪ್ಪ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ career ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
And Madam was visiting faculty for Vivekananda Institute of Leadership Development, Mysore, Physical Policy Institute, Bangalore, Administrative Training Institute, Mysore. Madam has done a lot of international courses, and she also offered. Madam has completed many projects. To name few of them: database on watersheds in Karnataka, assisted by AFPRO, impact of interventions of Mahila Samakhya on women empowerment, supported by Mahila Samakhya, micro enterprise and women, supported by Indo-Dutch Project Management Society, review of studies on soil fertility management in SCAT, India, supported by National Resource Institute, UK, self-financing of higher education, a case study of Mysore University, UGC unassigned grants for a minor research product, comparative study of watersheds implemented by different agencies, supported by OUTREACH Bangalore,
outreach. Yeah.
By Outreach Bangalore, building budgets from below to evolve, gender responsive budget, supported by Singamma Srinivasan Foundation, Bangalore, gainers and losers in transitions, a study of coffee marketing in India, supported by University Grants Commission, New Delhi, preparation of lessons for distance education in women's studies, Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, Andhra. So still it is going on. Educational inclusion
ಬೇಡಪ್ಪ ಸಾಕು please.
was funded by New Delhi. So like that, Madam has completed more than 20 projects during her tenure, and also Madam is having membership in many professional organizations: International Society for Third Sector Research, ISTR, Human Development and Capability Association, HDCA, International Association for Feminist Economics, Indian Association for Women Studies, Executive Committee member and Treasurer during 2008 and 11, Indian Society for Agricultural Marketing, Andhra Pradesh Economic Association, Karnataka Economic Association, Nisarga Foundation, MICAS, member for Technical Advisory Committee for Developing Gender Audit Markets, PFI, Bangalore. So membership in boards, there are many. Contribution through visual media, Madam has published 15 edited volumes, 75 articles in journals, 35 invited talks Madam has given. I think it is the number is increased now. Reports submitted, more than 12 reports submitted to different.
We're wasting time.
Okay, Madam. I end with all these things. And books published are many. Guided 19 students, successfully guided 19 students for PhD. Madam visited Paris, Netherlands, New York, Indonesia, South Africa. So these are the places Madam visited. Madam, sorry, I could not mention all the things.
Beda, please.
Yeah.
See, in the process of our working, we do several things. It is okay.
Yes. I know I have taken more than 10 minutes, but it's important for our participants to know what are the areas we can work and excel, and you could be inspiration for them also.
Thank you.
With these words, I wholeheartedly welcome you on behalf of HRDC Mysore and our participants, and on my own behalf. Welcome you, ma.
Thank you, Prem Kumar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your generous introduction. Yes, I also believe that whenever I was organizing programs, I used to introduce the guest properly because they may not be knowing. That is okay, but many of these participants, they may be knowing about my work. But one thing is, I did not leave anything because I got opportunity a bit late in my life. In the sense, like I joined the university. By then already I was 42. I joined as reader. So since then I have only 20 years time. So I just rushed to do several things simultaneously. It was multitasking. But anyway, God also helped me in doing things. Okay, fine. So thank you so much. And now it is up to 3:30, no, Prem Kumar?
3:15.
3:15. Okay. Yeah. 3:15.
3:45 to 5.
3:15 I will leave. 3:15 to 3:45, half an hour break. Okay.
Break.
Yeah, 3:15 means we have got exactly 1 hour time. Now it is 2:15.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think I will put it in this slideshow mode.
Yes.
I think it's not necessary. No, this is okay, no? Should I have to put it in full screen or it is okay? You want me to put it in slideshow?
Full screen is good for the people, those who are seeing
like
mobile.
This. Yeah. This is better?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Looks very nice.
So, yeah, actually, I'm spending less time on this, what is gender. But actually, before that, I want to just clarify certain things because you are all from economics. So you wonder, and some people also directly told me that, I mean, not now, earlier, that you are not doing economics research. But it is an economic issue. It is in the domain of economics. Now we have feminist economics. Feminist economics is a branch of economics which is growing very, very fast, and you all have an opportunity to contribute because it is still growing area. So, as an economic students, you have many more to contribute to the feminist economics field of feminist economics. So, why I have taken up this, even though my main work is in the area of agriculture economics, and I deliberately started working on gender issues also. Why? Because gender issues are one of the development issues. So we talk about development issues and problems of development, like in the process of development, what is happening to income distribution. So what is happening to employment and all different issues we talk about. So gender disparity or gender concerns are also one of the development issues. So that is how actually I got into working on gender and development. So gender and development, even among feminist studies also, there is one branch that is gender and development, which is focus of my work. So before getting into more details, I just want to clarify about what is gender. So generally anything people talking about feminine is gender, but actually gender, why we are talking about so much about gender means because gender is a social construct. It is not biological. So biological differences between a man and a woman is they are biological. So these biological differences come about because of your genetics, in the sense, if you carry XX chromosome, if it is a XX chromosome, it is female, and XY chromosome, it is a man. So variations are very few, triplex and all, we find them very rarely. But generally, in general, so XX chromosome will turn into a girl, and XY chromosome coming from both parents, XY chromosome becomes a boy. So on which we have very little control. This is biological. So biologically, scientists are able to explain that XY chromosome will become a boy, but they don't know. Nobody can explain why only X and Y happens. Why in some cases it is double X happens, and in some cases it XY happens. So scientists are able to explain this. But what I am trying to tell is we have very little control over this. We have very little control of being born as a man or a woman. We have very little control to produce a boy or a girl. So it is just biological and it happens by nature. But whereas gender differences are created by us. So gender differences means, boy should be doing all these things. Boy should take care of the family. Boy should earn money. Boy should earn more money. Boy should not be crying. So these are some of the concepts, some of the concepts are some of the roles that are assigned to a man, a boy. And, we also see many a time people talking about, oh, you are crying like a girl. That means boy should not be crying. Why not? He is also a human being. Boy is also a human being. He will also have emotions. Why not he cry? So similarly, girl. If a girl goes out and spend time and comes late at home, so she will be scolded. People scold her or elders scold her. Oh, you're moving like a boy. So that means boys can wander, but not girls. So that means, the whatever roles that are assigned, whatever expectations are there from a boy and girl, these are constructed by society. And these roles give difference, rise to several other differences. So similarly, these roles they're different. These we call them as gender roles. So gender roles means female roles and male roles different. So gender roles are decided by the society. So because this is made by us, these roles are made by us, by society. So they are different. Gender responsibilities in some society is different. Some religion, it is different. So for example, if you take Muslims, if you take Christians, so what is okay there may not be okay in Hindu culture. So that means, these gender roles are culturally determined. So they are made by human beings. So because of this, any oppression which is made by us, there is a possibility of reversing it. So one more thing I want to talk about is, because these are culturally determined, because in a patriarchal society, man is the breadwinner. Man has to earn for the family. So in that case, female need not be educated because female need not go to work. Female's role is within the household, cook food and serve. Whereas man's role is go out, earn for the family. Because these roles are divided like this, it led to inequality in the distribution of resources. See, for example, because girls need not earn, they need not get educated. And because they don't have to bring anything home, they need not be sent out. So this has led to what is called the disparity in access to resources. So this is, of course, now we are not talking about now, we are talking about historically. So that led to what is called the gender gap. Even now you find in several of the societies, not necessarily in India, but also in developed societies also, there is a lot of gender gap. So now I will get into how this gender is important for attaining the sustainable development goals. So this is about, I would share my PPT if any of you are interested in learning more. So you can always read it. So gender is the same thing, biological differences determine, and all these things that I have already explained to you. I think I'll remove this. It is making too much. Okay. So this is about biological differences I'm talking about. Families are characterized not only by cooperation, but also conflict as well. See, Amartya Sen talks about gender. Amartya Sen talks about the agency. Amartya Sen talks about the empowerment and agency. So he talks about the families are characterized not only by cooperation, but also conflict. So then now we will come to now the present today. That is just an introduction about what is gender. So I want you to clearly understand that gender is a social construct, and socially what a man and woman should be doing or not doing, roles assigned and all that is about gender. So now we will see what is meant by gender equity and gender equality. Then further we will understand why it is important to have gender equality for attaining the sustainable development goals. Because this particular program is mainly focused around sustainable development goals. So I'm talking about the 5th goal of sustainable development, that is gender equality. So gender equality and gender equity. I just want to make another clarification. Now, I strongly believe that conceptual clarity is very important. If you understand the concept very well, clearly, then you will be able to understand, appreciate it better. So for your PhD work, some of you are guides, some of you are doing your PhD work, and some of you will become guides in future. So one thing you take it from me, that you make the concept very clear to yourself and also to your own student. So then you know how to use that concept if you know clearly what the concept is. Okay. So here I'm talking to you about what is the difference between equity and equality. These two are not one and the same, even though these two are closely related. So equality is ensuring that every individual has an equal opportunity to make the most of their lives and talents. So means, equality recognizes that certain groups are disadvantages based on not necessarily only man and woman, certain categories of social groups. So they are denied of several opportunities. For example, why we have this scheduled caste and scheduled tribe population as a reserved category? Because they were not given opportunities. They were deprived of several opportunities. So ensuring equal opportunity is the equality. And equity is about giving people what they need. So in equity, we say that horizontal equity and vertical equity. In economics, we talk about, in public finance, we talk about horizontal equity and vertical equity in resource allocation. So equity is giving people what they need in order to make things fair for them. See, for a person who can't walk, who is not able to walk, by giving him shoes, what he can do? If you are distributing shoes for everybody, and a fellow who cannot walk, if you give shoes, he can't use it. Instead, use the same money and give him anything else, him or her, anything else. So then then that becomes what is called the equity. So it is simply giving more. Like equity requires that unequals must be treated unequally. See, I will show you one diagram, then that makes it very, very easy for you. So equality is the end goal and equity is the means to get there. See, this pictures explain much more easily than words. So this picture, what is equity and what is equality? This picture talks about this. So in equality, what we do, equality means, giving all, treating all equally. See here, the objective of this diagram is to explain to you what is equity and what is equality. So here the objective is to make everybody, facilitate everybody to watch the game. Game is taking place, cricket game is taking place. Everybody wants to watch. So here our objective is to make everybody to watch the game. So if that is because what is to be done? And because the wall is very high, so boxes are given. So boxes are given for everybody same. Each one of them got a box and each one of them is standing on the box here. So each one of them, and means, there is no discrimination. Everybody is given one box. So everybody can stand on the box and watch it. So then what happens? Everybody got the way, that is equally everybody is given. But here the fellow has more advantage. The fellow has advantage. The fellow did not get any advantage because they are not equal. There is inequality between them. So this fellow actually needs, the shortest fellow needs actually 2 boxes. And this middle fellow needs 1 box. And the first fellow doesn't need anything. He need not have any box. Otherwise also he can see. See, by giving differentiating, not giving him any box and giving him 1 box and giving this fellow 2 boxes. So by doing this, all 3 of them got an opportunity to watch the match. See, here it may look like, oh, this fellow is not given any box. It looks like you have not distributed boxes equally. But by distributing equally, you are depriving one fellow of the opportunity. So that is why what you do is differentially located people are to be differentially treated. See, differential, this fellow is short, and he needs 2 boxes. So he is given 2 boxes. And this way resources are efficiently allocated to reach the objective of allowing everybody to watch the game. So similarly, the same thing you can apply to our social groups. You can apply to gender differences. You can apply to men and women. So for several years, several decades, women are deprived of the opportunity. Now to bring them to the level where men are taking opportunities, they need to be given double resources so that, the equality can be attained. So this is one example, and there's one more example here. See here, when in the running race, when rounds are made, so if all of them, for equality concept, what we do, for equality, everybody should start from only 1 point. So when everybody starts from 1 point, that is equality. All are starting from particular point. But by starting from the particular point, the fellow who is in the inner ring, the fellow has to make only less round. And the fellow second round, he has to make little more. The fellow in the outer ring, they have to make much more distance. So then all 3 of them did not get equal opportunity to finish it in time. There is advantage for the inner ring fellow, whereas the outer ring fellow has a disadvantage. So then to make it equity, to achieve equity, what happens is, see, inner ring fellow will be outer ring fellow, and they are not like this. They are not actually starting equally. They are starting in different points. So when they are starting in different points, everybody will get an opportunity to finish it in time. So this is also another concept of equality. So when somebody asks, some people generally ask, why women ask for reservation? Why women ask for reservation when they are asking for equality and claiming that they are equal? So this is the reason. See, when we got the reservation in Panchayat Raj institutions, so till the women's reservation bill came about, there were very few women in local governance. So when Panchayat Raj bill came and the reservation is made, so much more women got an opportunity to enter into the administration. So that means, it is not any charity. It is ensuring equity to attain equality. So different forms of equality. You have social equality, civil equality, political equality, economic equality. Means it has been applied to different fields, and you can think of any other things also. So now we are talking about generally what is equity and what is equality. Now we will come to gender equality and gender equity. So gender equality is when all genders have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. See, when I'm talking about, again, at the cost of repetition, I'm telling, when I'm talking about gender, we are talking about both men and women. So gender equality means, both genders, both men and women should have equal opportunity. So that is what is called the gender equality, when everybody has got equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. So that is what we call it as gender equality. So then gender equality implies that the interests, needs, priorities of both men and women are taken into consideration, recognizing the diversity of different groups. But whereas gender equity refers to fairness of treatment. Fairness of treatment, just I have explained to you. Gender equity is needed to achieve equality. So equity is differentially located people, differentially treated. So because they never had the opportunity. So if you look at education levels, if you look at not this minute, but for several, even now also, very few women are into the higher education. Now there is an improvement because of reservation or whatever it is. But for several decades, women's education standards were low, literacy levels were very low. So when there is that much difference, and even work participation of men is much higher than the work participation of women. So when there are such differences, to achieve gender equality, you need to have gender equity. So you need to give them reservation or some positive discrimination. We call it as positive discrimination as a social policy. So by doing that, it is possible to achieve gender equality. So paradigm shift in development thinking. Now let us come to what is called the paradigm shift in development thinking and how we got into the sustainable development. So sustainable development is a very recent concept in the sense like 90s, after the Earth Summit only, this sustainable development concept has come about. So till then people were focusing on several other things. So economic and cultural progress, and it is more on increasing output, GDP, increasing GDP and all that. But 80s, there was recognition that trickle down is not working. So, all of you know as economic students, what is trickle down theory? So trickle down theory says that if you focus on economic development, automatically it gets down and everybody gets benefited. But that did not happen. So that is why in the 80s, people were thinking about top-down approach, reversal of top-down, that is bottom-up approach. So participatory development means, so everybody should be participating in the development process. So then bottom-up approach, like Panchayat Raj institutions and local planning and all these things have come about. So 90s only we got what is called the sustainable development concept. So when if development is not sustainable, it is not possible to continue the kind of activities that we are doing. So it is important to focus on sustainable development. So then after that, 2030 agenda of sustainable development has come about. So many must have spoken about sustainable development goals. So sustainable development, why I am talking a little bit more about sustainable development is, I want to relate it, how gender equality is important for sustainable development. So sustainable development, you also know, I think, there are, basically it is a harmonious integration of sound and viable economy, responsible governance, social cohesion, and ecological integrity. So to ensure development I mean, in order to ensure this sustainable development it is a combination of both economic development, environmental protection, social reform, and people's environment. So basically, sustainable development says that development should be, I mean, in the process of development, you should be able to give at least the same amount of resources to the next generation, like that. So sustainable development ensures that human well-being, ecological integrity. I'm not reading this. So 3 dimensions of sustainable development are, you have economic development and social progress and environmental responsibility. All these are 3 important dimensions of sustainable development. And all these 3 are extremely important for sustainable development. See, for example, if you have only economic development and social progress, maybe we may be having a fair world. Fair world in the sense all social groups have got equal opportunity, and it is also economic development. So if you focus on economic development and social progress, we'll reach a society which is fair. But we don't know whether it is environmentally sustainable or not. Only if you focus only on these 2. Similarly, if you focus only on social progress and environmental responsibility, you don't know whether it is a livable society. If you focus only on social progress, you focus only on environmental responsibility. If that is the case, you don't focus much on economic development. So then you don't know whether it will lead to a livable world or not. If you have both social progress and environmental responsibility, it will lead to a livable world. And similarly, if you focus on economic development and only on environmental responsibility, it may not lead to a viable society. So you need to have both economic development and environmental. So all these 3 dimensions are important for the sustainable development. You can't leave economic development, because without economic development, you don't have anything to eat. At the same time, there is a trade-off between economic development and environmental sustainability. So because in the process of production, you also use natural resources. So it is important to understand that economic development without focus on sustainable development is not, without focusing on environmental responsibilities, it is not sustainable. And similarly, without social progress. So what will people do if there is no social cohesion? If people are fighting among themselves, what is the use of having economic development? So for sustainable development, it is important to focus on all these 3 things. So all these 3 things will lead to a fair world, livable world, and viable world. So a world with all these things will lead to what is called the sustainable development. So sustainable development goals, I'm not talking much about this because these are generally goals. So the mission statement of the sustainable development goals is a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all by 2030. It is a very, very, very well proclaimed what is called the mission statement. It is a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future. So for more sustainable future, I have seen all the 3 pillars. All these are very important. So these are the sustainable development goals. There are 169 targets and 19 goals. And each target has 1 to 3 indicators. It's a big list. So that means there are 232 indicators. Because now we have to measure whether our development is towards sustainable or not. So to measure that, they came out with what is called some of the indicators. So in your research also, you'll be using several of the indicators to, because if you want to tell that this particular intervention is sustainable, how will you tell? You need some indicator. Indicator is carbon emission. So if carbon emission is less in this line of production, you can say that it leads to sustainable, it contributes to sustainable development. So now why gender equality? Now you understood what is gender, and you also understood what is gender equity and gender equality, and you also understood what are the dimensions of sustainable development. So now we will see why it is important. Why it is important to have gender equality and how gender equality and sustainable development are linked to each other. So by case for gender equality. So gender equality is important for sustainable development. I'm arguing why gender equality is important for attaining the sustainable development. So the most important determinant of a country's competitiveness is human talent. See, sustainable development, you have seen, economic dimension is there, environmental dimension is there, social dimension is there. For economic dimension, to improve output, you need human resources. So, and human resources are to be efficiently utilized. So, unless until there is gender equality, unless until every human being is involved, both men and women, your resources are not efficiently allocated. So means if you are not giving opportunity for women, what happen? Women, so much of human resource is not taken into consideration and resources are not efficiently utilized. So that is one reason. Second reason is there is also a values-based case for gender equality. So women are half of human population. So they are also human beings. So this is actually what is called the value-based. So they are also to be valued and they are also to be given. So they are also to be given equal opportunity. So that is actually value-based argument. And there is a lot of research that is taking place to understand if societies which are gender equal, whether those societies, those countries have grown well, whether GDP and growth rate and gender equality, whether there is any relationship or not. So there are some studies, and one study by Naila Kabir. Naila Kabir is a feminist economist. She is a Bangladeshi and she is in Institute of Development Studies, UK. And she has produced a lot of research on gender equality, gender issues. So her research paper, so they clearly found that, the research paper is about gender equality and economic growth. Is there a win-win? Means, whether development leads to, economic development leads to gender equality, or gender equality leads to economic development, or in the process of economic development, both economic development also takes place, gender equality also attains. Whether there is such win-win case is there. Her research paper showed. So what she came out is that gender equality, particularly in education and employment, contributes to economic growth, is far more consistent and robust than relationship with economic growth contributes to gender equality in terms of. See, what she found is the gender equality in education and employment, they contribute more to economic growth rather than economic growth contributing to gender equality in health and education. So what she found is, there is no win-win situation. There is no, there may not appear to be a win-win solution, but from a gender equity perspective, there is no guarantee that growth itself would address the gender dimension. So if you focus on growth, it doesn't automatically lead to gender equality. That is what Naila Kabir has found out. And there is another study by Gender Equality and Economic Growth, evidence from industry level data. So what these people have done is industries which are giving equal opportunity for men and women, whether they have contributed. So what they observed is that, gender inequality affects real economic outcomes. So any country where there is greater gender inequality, economic outcomes are bad. So societies where gender equality is more, economic outcomes are better. It is all established research. You can also Google, all these things are there. I'm sharing with, you can just copy and paste in Google, you will get more information about this, because with 1 hour, it is not possible to cover all these things. So, okay. So another paper, this is another paper, does gender inequality affect economic development? And evidence based on analysis of cross-national panel data. See, now you have so much data available. You can happily write papers. You can cull out data and produce papers. So this one, gender equality, what these people have done is, they have done regression analysis using gender inequality index. So, we have a lot of data, UNDP produces gender inequality index and all. So they have taken that data and they have come out. So the findings suggest that gender inequality index has a significant inverse correlation with the GDP per capita. And they also found that gender development index shows a positive correlation with GDP per capita. So in both the cases, see, gender inequality index has an inverse relationship with GDP per capita. Where the inequality is less, GDP is high. That kind of inverse relationship. And similarly, gender development index, so has a positive correlation with GDP. So higher the gender development index, higher the GDP per capita. It came out very clearly. And also they have done some multivariate analysis also. So GDP per capita, even after controlling for other covariates also, they found that there is a relationship between gender inequality and economic development measured in terms of GDP. So these are only few studies. There are several studies. I want to just show you that in which direction research is going on, and also to bring the logically argue that gender equality is extremely important for the country to progress, for the economic development of the country, and for the sustainable development. Gender equality is absolutely necessary, to draw the point. So, and here also another, this one example of what it is called gender gap index versus GDP per capita. So here, this is also from, I think, World Economic Forum and Global Gender Gap Index. See here, on x-axis, this is global gender gap. So if there is no gap means it will be 1. There is no gender gap. There is no difference between access to men and women. So if there is no gap means it will be 1. Moving more towards right side is increasing, decreasing gender gap, increasing gender parity. So, and whereas this side it is GDP per capita. So GDP per capita is on y-axis. So what this graph shows is, there are some countries, for example, Pakistan. So Pakistan, gender gap is very high. Gender gap is this side more gender gap, more towards 1 means there is no gap. If it is 1 means both men and women equally they have opportunity. So in Pakistan, it is this side, it is more gender gap, and per capita income is also very low here. See, per capita income is low and it has the gender gap. And similarly, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, per capita income is high, but there is greater gender gap. It is mainly culturally based. Oman, Iran, and all these things. And if you say this side, this part we will see. In this part, Norway, Iceland. Iceland is ranking 1. Norway, Iceland, Finland, and United Kingdom, Germany. So they are more towards this, more towards equality, and their GDP per capita is also very high. So this clearly shows the relationship between GDP and gender inequality, gender equality rather. So here similarly, gender gap index and human development, not only for GDP, but also human development also it contributes, gender equality contributes to human development. So here also you find the same kind of thing. This is gender gap index and this is human development. So here this side again you will have Iceland, Finland, Norway. So they all have high gender parity. Gender parity means there is no gap. So whereas, Pakistan and Iran and these places, you will find there's a lot of gender gap. So there is no win-win case. So when there is no win-win case, deliberately why we are talking about whether there is any win-win case is because if you focus on economic development, automatically gender differences will be taken care. But that is not the case. It is not happening like our trickle-down theory. So here also gender inequality is not happening just with economic development. So logical conclusion is then what has to be done? Policy intervention, what has to be done? So means deliberately governments have to spend money, resources, and through policy interventions, government has to promote gender equality. So gender equality and sustainable development. So why gender equality and sustainable development ought to be linked? So first of all, it is moral and ethical, I already told you. So second, it is critical to address the disproportionate impact. See why gender equality is important for sustainable development. So what we know, sustainable development means development which continues, and with development which continues, and we will be able to give the resource for the next generation. So that happens only when there is, when everything is, when economic impact is proportionately distributed. So when the disproportionate impact, because in the process of economic development, environmental shocks will be there. There will be several, like for example, global crisis or any such things. So when these stresses are not equally distributed between men and women, so then it will lead to, it won't lead to any sustainable development. So second argument is why it is important to have sustainable, why it is important to have gender equality for sustainable development is to redress the disproportionate impact of economic, social, and environmental shocks. And next one is, it is important to build women's agency and their capabilities to create better synergies between gender equality and sustainable development outcomes. So sustainable development, I have a last slide also where I have explained how sustainable development, what can be done. We will come to that. So sustainable gender equality is important for sustainable outcomes. So of course there is a growing, I have shown you some research, and still a lot of research is going on to understand the synergies between gender equality and one hand in economic, social, and environmental sustainability. A lot of research is taking place, and most of the researchers, what they found is that gender equality is important for environmental, social, and economic sustainability. So unsustainable patterns of development intensify what is called the gender inequalities. Even economic development, if it is not sustainable, it will lead to greater gender inequalities. So as I told you, the three pillars of sustainable development, economic, environment, and social, are also relevant for the discussion of gender equality. I told you, earlier I shown you this diagram, mainly to explain to you about the sustainable development. Now I am going to talk to you why gender equality is important for all the three dimensions. So there are several studies which indicate gender inequality are extracting high economic costs, leading to social and income inequalities. See, I'll tell you one example. When COVID took place, so and many industries and got closed. So and because many women are in such kind of unorganized employment, they are the first to be sent home. And many men are in organized sector, so their jobs were there. And many women are in garment factories, so and working as what is called housemaids, kamwali, And those jobs, there is no assurance. They are all unorganized sector jobs. So then what happened? They are the people who have endured the burden of this crisis. So, and first pillar, as I told you, economics of gender. So women are, we will talk about the first dimension. First dimension is economic dimension. So in economic dimension, we talk about the GDP and poverty and all such things. So first pillar, that is what is called the economic pillar of sustainable development. So how gender equality contributes is, there are several studies which have shown that in empowered society, when women are also earning, poverty levels are low. So World Bank publishes regularly regular assessments and newsletters under the banner Gender Equality as Smart Economics. So if you go through World Bank newsletters, you will understand gender equality as smart economics. So that means, when more and more women work, so there will be more investments when there are more investments in women and girls, their education and health. So then they have multiplier effect and the economies. So where girls are educated, where women are working, those economies are economically progressing. So that is why for addressing the first dimension of economic dimension of sustainable development, it is important for women to be educated and healthy. And next one is the second dimension. Second dimension is what is called society. Social dimension of sustainable development. Social pillar of sustainable development and its emphasis on equity and equality is the most politically sensitive of three dimensions, because it is society, we are dealing with society. And particularly in Indian case, the society is so diverse and it is very, very sensitive to talk anything about social issues. So, and that will lead to several crises. Even now also you find so many atrocities taking place. So many countries are implementing strategies for green growth and green economies and green jobs. So all such things, they are being implemented, and anti-poverty strategies are necessary to consider the role of social institutions. So to ensure the social dimension of sustainable development, women are to be involved in all these activities. For example, in employment and in education and in any initiatives, it is important to involve women to attain what is called the second dimension of society and equal opportunities. And third dimension is environment. So gender and environment. Gender and environment, feminist researchers have done gender and environment, and that itself is a branch of economics. A lot of research is taking place, environmental economics. So in environment, how gender equity contributes to environmental dimension of sustainable development is that, so women are involved in, traditionally women are involved in activities which are very close to nature. So means I'm not talking about people like me who are sitting in rooms like this, but if you go to the rural areas and traditionally women are involved in collecting, gathering food for the, taking cattle for grazing and, bringing firewood and such things. And women are responsible for water, collection of water and usage of water. So there is a necessity for addressing these issues. So if these issues are not addressed, it won't lead to any sustainable development. So due to gender inequalities, environmental challenges have different impacts on men, women, and boys and girls. So because of gender inequalities, environmental challenges. See, for example, if you take environmental challenges, drought condition, or if you take what is called soil degradation. So these are some of the environmental issues, and earthquake or floods. In all these tsunamis, in all these places, in all these situations, so women actually face more burden than men traditionally because of these roles. So it is important to have gender equality to reduce the burden of this on women. So, and the other arguments are dominant development pathways have often contributed to unsustainability, because till now, I mean, till at summit, till people were awakened that development is not going to be sustainable unless until you take care of. Till then, the argument was mainly focused only on production. But whereas with that argument, the sustainable development has come about. So gender equality and sustainability issues, people started flagging that gender equality is equally important for attaining the sustainable development. You can't address sustainable development without addressing the gender issues. So people were flagged, and since then work is going on sensitizing women. Sensitizing governments to ensure gender equality. So economic participation of women, why it is important is economic participation. There is a lot of research going on. So economic participation of women will lead to long-term poverty reduction and economic diversification and reduction in income inequalities. So some of you must be wondering that when a female, in some families where both husband and wife work, they have a lot of money, and in some families only husband works, so inequalities would increase. But in the transition, once everybody is able to get equal opportunity to work, then the situation would be different. So criteria for assessing the sustainable development policies and programs. So how to assess whether a particular sustainable development policies with gender lens, and the criteria for assessing the sustainable development policies and programs, whether they contribute to gender equality or not. So you remember first itself I argued that development as such, it doesn't take care of gender inequalities. So you have to have some policies. So now all the policies are towards a sustainable development. Everybody is talking about this policies for sustainable development. So when all the efforts are towards sustainable development, whether they lead to gender equality or not, we will see what is the criteria. Criteria for assessing the policies and programs. So World Survey on the Role of Women in Development 2014, they have identified 3 criteria for assessing whether the policies and programs implemented in the name of sustainability are likely to achieve gender equality. So this what is called the World Survey on Role of Women 2014. So they came out with the 3 criteria to understand if what and all governments are doing in name of sustainable development, whether it is leading to gender equality or not, likely to achieve gender equality and women's right, which are like, so in this first criterion is with respect to women's capabilities and their enjoyment of human rights. So any intervention, any policy or any program, I think you all know that a policy will policy gets operationalized through programs. So government makes policy, government will make policy. So policy doesn't reach us. If a government made a policy that all girls should be in school, that is a policy. But how are we going to achieve this? You need programs for that. So for understanding if government policies and programs are leading to gender equality or not, first criteria is to see whether that policy is having any impact on capabilities of women, whether capabilities of women and their enjoyment and their rights, whether they are positively affected. Any policy, if it is affecting them, their capabilities positively, so that will lead to reduce gender inequality. So no development pathway can be considered sustainable if it reduces women's capabilities. So any public policy, any government policy implemented without taking into consideration any public policy which is negatively affecting the capabilities, it is not going to be it is not going to lead to sustainable development. And second criteria, we'll have to check whether it is negatively affecting the capabilities. See, it's not that all policies they will lead to, like if you look at a policy analysis, not all policies will lead to the desired effect. So sometimes a policy is made with some objective in mind, but unintended effects will take place. because we are not living in any laboratory. So we interact with others and they also interact with us. So many variables in the economy, they work together. So sometimes any policy may have unintended what is called backfire. I can put it in quotations, backfire. See, one example I'll give you. So when Government of India introduced what is called the paternity, compulsory maternity leave. So compulsory maternity leave, I don't remember which year they made it. So I think now also government, this one, they have increased the maternity leave. A girl can take maternity leave. I don't remember exactly how many years. But they also made it compulsory for the big industries also to do this. So what happened is, because it has backfired. How it has backfired is, it has appeared in newspapers also. How it has backfired is, now companies are some or other avoiding girls, because if they appoint the girl, they have to give maternity leave. Maternity leave of, I think, 1 year or 2, I think 2 years. A girl can take avail maternity leave, entire service. They can take 2 years till, I think, child comes to some age, something like that. So means, the policy objective is to give opportunity for the family, for the girls to take care of the family and discharge their responsibilities. But it has a backfired, it has a negative effect on their employment opportunities. So sometimes the policy conflicts also will be taking place. So it is important to look at this. And second criteria is with respect to impact on unpaid care work of women and girls. So any policy when government introduces in the name of sustainable development, if it has a negative impact on unpaid work. So in the case of women's work, we use the term what is called women's work is invisible. So whatever they do within the private domain, that is within the household, it is not paid. So it is unpaid work. Any government policy, if it is increasing their unpaid work, it is not sustainable. See why? Because, for example, if any policy, if it has increased the cost of hiring, or if it has increased the prices of certain commodities, so then what happens? Women are forced to use less of them. So then they will be having more work within the household. So any policy which affects unpaid work, so it is not a sustainable policy. It doesn't lead to sustainable development. So third criteria is to the full, equal and meaningful participation of women. So women, if women are not made part of the policies, if women are not made part of the decision making, so then it won't lead to what is called the sustainable development. So to understand if the policies are leading to sustainable development or not, we should see if women are involved in the policy making anywhere. So how to achieve this? How to achieve this gender equality with sustainable development is involving those women in the decision making process, and also states play a central role in delivering a commitments to gender equality. See, policies are made at the macro level, but their implementation actually matters, and states play a very important role. There are 3 important gender equality strategies. So one is tinkering and tailoring and transforming. So tinkering refers to measures aimed at establishing formal equality between men and women, giving equal opportunity through equal treatment. So legislation and all that. So means tinkering means existing policies only change a little bit. For example, providing reservation for women. Still, of course, we got only in local bodies. Still, reservation bill is still pending at the national level. So, and that is tinkering. Tailoring policies is mere appropriate policies which are appropriate for women, retaining gender equality or reducing the gender gap. And third type of policies should be transformative policies. So transformative policies, they question the status and the gender mainstreaming. For transformative policies, gender mainstreaming is one of the important policies, and a lot of efforts are going on in this direction. So now I want to keep some time. That is why actually I'm rushing, so that we will we'll have some discussion so that next session you won't feel. I think I will stop this here, stop sharing. So I want all of you to talk, and we will discuss whether you agree that gender equality is important for sustainable development or not. In the next session, I'm going to prove with numbers what is the situation as far as goal number 5 is concerned. So now I'm just listening to you. So what do you think, whether gender equality is important or not for sustainable development? Now unmute, I can't hear. Yeah, unmute.
Important, madam.
Who is speaking?
It's important, madam.
Yeah.
Gender equality.
Why?
ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇವಾಗ
ಹ್ಮ್.
ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಇದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಗಂಡ್ ಮಕ್ಳು ಇದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಅವನು ಬಸವ, ಅವಳು ಕಮಲಿ. ಕಮಲಿ ಮನೆಯ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸಿದಳು, ಬಸವ ಅಪ್ಪನ ಜೊತೆ ಹೊಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದನು ಅಂತ ನಾವೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ. ಬೆಳೀತಾ ನಮ್ ಹಿಂದೂ ಸೊಸೈಟಿನಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ನ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಮಗಳು ತಾಯಿ ಜೊತೆ ಮನೆ ಕೆಲಸ
ಈಗಲೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಈಗಲೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Traditional society, no madam. So still we are maintain the discrimination between the men and women, madam.
Still it is there. Still it is there. Now I want some of you to respond why it is important for sustainable development. Okay, idre itkolli, let it be like that. How it matters? Is it only because she is also a human being, or she can contribute to sustainable development?
In local self-government, you know, madam, you give the importance to the ladies reservation, but all administration holding by only male society or male person, you know, madam. So constitution provides the women reservation to in local self-government, but overall all the power holding by the men. So are the family members are the who are the
Sir, I'm sorry, ade idu ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅದೇನೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಯು ಆಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇನೆ, ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಇನ್ಇಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ರೂ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ, ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದೆ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ. ಬಟ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಇನ್ಇಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಡಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಇನ್ಇಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ? Does it contribute to sustainable development or not?
They are contributing.
It will contribute. Are there some those who don't know Kannada?
Ma'am, I'm there.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Dr. Yashodhara from Gujarat, ma'am. I don't understand.
Okay, fine. I will translate anyway. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Ramjam.
One request, ma'am.
Yeah.
Some members are from Maharashtra, so we can't understand other
No,
language.
I will translate. Don't
Please
worry.
ask in English.
No. Let them. Even if they respond in Kannada, also don't worry. I will translate. I will.
Yeah, ma'am.
You
Because
will
I'm
get it.
from
No
Gujarat,
problem.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. I just want to ask one question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you said that the gender equality is important, and India is facing the problem of the sex ratio. That is the gap between India.
Decline sex ratio.
Yeah, ma'am. And there is one judgment given by the Supreme Court that now the abortion is easier. Okay, it's legalized. So, ma'am, it can be possible that again that sex issue can be again, it will be create the problem, and due to that, whatever the SDGs we want to achieve, and again that problem can be created. So it can be harmful for the economy, that legislature.
That is what actually there is one branch how technology affects gender. See, technology is also not gender neutral. Technology is also gender biased.
Yeah.
See, actually this amniocentesis and understanding actually amniocentesis. Amniocentesis is the technique by which you will know whether unborn fetus has got any anomalies, any problems. So, but that is technology developed, and that is being used to know whether it is a boy or girl. And if it is a girl, they have to go for abortion. So that means now here the technology against female. So right now you are talking about, I was also talking about the flashback, backfire of the policies. See, the policy of abortion rights is given because it is her body. She should have right over her body. It's not anybody else's. You can't ask to produce a baby. It is your own body. You should have a say on to have a baby or not to have a baby. But that to ensure that this court has given this, but it will certainly backlash. It will have certainly such kind of what you are talking about. Yes. Yeah.
And as per me, that gender equality is better and good for the sustainability, because as per we can say when in simple way, when we can say that women is educated and women is healthy, that the next generation can be educated and healthy. In that way we can say, and the development criteria is necessary not only for the present generation, but it is also related with the future. So sustainable development is necessary not for present criteria, but so that's why it is very important that the women should be healthy, educated, and the equality should be there, so that we can achieve the whatever the goal decided.
All three dimensions of sustainable development can be, because it cuts across, gender equality cuts across all the issues.
Right.
Anybody else? Datta Kumara.
Yes.
Kumara. From where are you from, Datta?
I am from Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. Yeah, you have something to say. Tamil Nadu, what is her name? Manimakalai is director.
Yes, Mani.
Yeah. And,
so many schemes.
You got something to tell? Yeah.
Yes. In Tamil Nadu is concerned, many schemes towards to achieve the gender equality, especially the recently Tamil Nadu government is offering free tickets to travel transport and maternity leave for 1 year, and 4 grams gold for women who is going to marry. These are many schemes. Even 50% of reservation. We have given more than 50% of reservation in local body elections also.
Yes.
Whether my question is here, whether the free schemes can we achieve the gender equality?
Whether? I didn't get. Whether?
Whether the free schemes for women, free schemes. Free schemes.
Free schemes?
Free schemes. Can we achieve the gender equality?
No, free schemes are not free schemes. See, free schemes are, as I told you, that is to ensure equity.
Okay.
See, because, for example, rich families, no problem. Poor families, if there is a boy and girl, and only boy will be sent to computer education because fees is high. Girls won't be sent to computer education even though she is intelligent. So in that case, if girl is given laptop or some opportunity, scholarship or something, so she will also get equal opportunity to get. So that way it is to ensure the equity. It's not, it is free. Certainly it is free. But why this difference is to ensure equity, to give what is useful for her, because she doesn't have access to that. So that way it would certainly lead to gender equality. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice person.
Anybody's talk? Yeah. Now it is time to break, is it? Datta Kumara is telling something. Datta? Where are you from? I didn't get. Datta. You are coming from Karnataka? Unmute. We can't hear you.
Ma'am, he is saying that he have an audio problem. So
Audio, that message
send
is
a
from
message.
message
that
is
I
from
want
him.
to say
Okay.
is
Yeah.
female lead equality, equity or not?
Charts it is there, is it? In charts.
There is a question in chat.
I have an audio problem. What I want to say is female need equity or not. What does it mean? You are questioning whom? Huh?
Okay.
Not
Equality.
equality. Women need equity or not. Whom are you questioning? I didn't get whom you are questioning. They are asking entire women on the earth. I mean, maybe we will have to break. Yeah, otherwise you'll be cursing me. Yeah, 115. I mean, 215. You are supposed 315. Okay. Yeah. Female need equality. Okay. You are telling that female need equality. Equity, not equality. Equity leads to equality. That's what I told. Equity is a means. Equality is an end. Okay. I think we'll break now and we will